I love Atlus games. And if you also love Atlus games, I'm sure we can both agree that 2024 was an amazing year to be a fan of them. Starting with a remake of one of the best Persona games, a new real-time strategy IP developed by the same team that made 13 Sentinels, the best story told in gaming, play it, an expanded re-release of SMT5 with over 80 new songs. Wait a second, that's not Atlus. Even more Persona sold with questionable DLC practices, and then another new IP that's been in the making for close to a decade. With all of these amazing games coming out back to back, this has been one of the most eventful years for JRPGs in recent memory. So let's take a look back and take the time to really appreciate 2024. The time I've come to call the Year of Atlus. And also blue hair protagonist? No, seriously, there's no way this is a coincidence. What are they trying to... February 2nd, Persona 3 Reload drops. At first, I wasn't too excited for this game. I thought, oh, it's just gonna be Persona 3 again, updated to be more in line with modern Atlus games. It's gonna be an easy mode baby game that just looks good but doesn't really capture what made the original unique or intriguing. I didn't think they could add or do anything that you couldn't experience in any of the other 3 versions of the game. With a $70 price tag too, this game would be an easy skip for anyone that's already played Persona 3. And in a way, I was right. But also not. As the appointed time drew closer and closer, I found that my interest and anticipation grew. Yes, this is a remake of the original Persona 3, meaning no FES content like the answer, unless you buy it separately, or gender option for the main character like Portable. Pour one out for the Saori fans. But there are also features included that make the entire game much more immersive. For one, all social links are voiced. I cannot stress that enough. Seeing this shit happen in real time was a game changer. Now this could probably only work out the way it does because the social links are much more short and sweet compared to Persona 4 and 5. But being able to actually hear the characters as we help them sort through their various challenges in life adds so much. It made me actively want to get to know them better. In addition to getting to know characters better, they added these events called linked episodes, which are basically social links for your male party members. While not nearly as long or involved, they do paint a clearer picture of what the guys get up to outside of school or missions. With an entirely recast voice crew, the incentives only increased for my playthrough to happen. But the cherry on top were the new songs they plan to include. Although some are hard misses. Lots are fun new interpretations in an already stacked OST. The 2 new songs, Color Your Night and It's Going Down Now, well, I'm sure we all know how well received those were by now. Oh yeah, and there's combat. The Aigis are broken. Persona 3 Reload is just what the title implies, a retelling, albeit a very faithful one, of the original Persona 3. This is not the amalgamation of what one might want for the ultimate version of Persona 3, cramming every feature of the original, FES, and Portable together. If you want to experience the story from a different perspective, you'll have to play Portable. If you want to take a shit to get over your sickness from battling shadows at night, you'll have to play FES. If you want the game to force you into romantic relationships with all the girls, making you into an unintentional douchebag who sees no consequence of toying with people's emotions, then get your ass out of here. We love to see platonic relationships. Jeez. While this game was an enjoyable ride, I can't say with 100% certainty this is my absolute favorite way to play Persona 3. But it is easily the most accessible and beautiful way to experience it, especially if it's your first time doing so. I definitely recommend this game for anyone interested in finding out what this whole Persona deal the kids are talking about is, but I'd still wait for a sale. As for myself, since this is the internet, I'm obligated to give my unsolicited opinion and rating on things I enjoy. I don't really like rating things with an arbitrary number, so instead, we'll be using this arbitrary meter to gauge my impression. And for Reload, I gave it a big fat, I like it. Good music, fantastic presentation, combat's a tad too easy, and I miss the jank the original had, but this is definitely a step in the right direction for a post-Hoshino Persona era. March 8th, Unicorn Overlord drops, and with a pretty involved demo to get you acclimated into it. Immediately, the art direction is what grabbed me with this game. I'm sure you've heard me say it at least a million times by now, but Vanillaware, the developers of 13 Sentinels, were also involved in the making of this game, meaning I already knew this was going to be a feast for the eyes. A new IP in filling the void of my tactical JRPG craving, Unicorn Overlord came out at a very good time for me to spend countless hours optimizing the perfect team combinations and breaking the game. And the game has a pretty good loop to keep you enthralled for the 80+ hour campaign. Presenting a more open-ended approach to when you can tackle maps with enough strategy, you can find yourself taking on endgame level enemies within your first few hours. And while that isn't the best way to go about it, having the ability to do so regardless, I found really exciting. It can take a minute to really understand the combat, but once it clicks, you'll have one of the most in-depth and customizable battle systems found in a modern strategy game. Outside of the gameplay, there's a surprisingly colorful cast of characters you'll come to like and love, with a story that, while not wholly exciting or original, keeps the game grounded in this medieval fantasy world. You'll visit neighboring countries, make unlikely allies, eat together at a tavern, talk about your deepest fears and insecurities, and then find a holy sword that will help you defeat the tyrannical menace hell-bent on destroying everything. Sounds like a certain other game series. If there were any major gripes I had with this game, it's that the difficulty will come to a head once you find your perfect squad. At a certain point, the tools you're given outpace the enemies, and it never quite feels like they tried to have the enemy squads keep up. For sure, there are some challenges, but playing on the hardest difficulty, I found there was always a simple solution. Horses. On top of that, the game seems to lose its steam both in terms of its story's pacing and interesting maps in the later half of the adventure. Besides these issues, I had a ton of fun with this game, but I can't say it was the hardest hitter of the year's lineup. I had to give it a solid score of, I liked it. Spent way more time playing than I initially thought I would, but I probably won't go back to give this game another run. If you're hungry for a new tactical JRPG or just a fan of Vanillaware in general though, I think this would be right up your alley. June 13th, SMT5 Vengeance. And oh man, there's not enough I can say about this game. Well, right off the bat, I'm extremely biased towards this title. Base SMT5 was one of my favorite games released over the past few years. Seeing its absolutely gorgeous and chilling world get the justice it deserves outside of being locked on the Switch almost left me in tears. This much needed re-release brought an unexpected amount of new content too, fleshing out concepts where they failed to build upon in the original. We've got over 40 new demons, a brand new story titled The Canon of Vengeance, new characters, an expansive new area, demon haunts, Magatsuhi rails, new Nahobino abilities, hell, passive abilities for all the demons, and to top it off, 80 new songs. Yeah, 80. And they all fucking rock. Ryota, I love you so much, man. For anyone who has played SMT5 and found the game lackluster, Vengeance delivers on bringing a fresh and much more complete experience. And for anyone who has never played 5, play it. But while all these new additions are well and good, how well did they actually implement all these new features into the game? In my opinion, let's just say some things were still a bit undercooked. The combat is just as amazing as you'd expect from any SMT game. As a matter of fact, I'd go as far as to say this is one of the best SMT games based on combat alone. With the addition of passive skills on demons working together with the new team-up Magatsuhi skills, it feels like team compositions matter more than ever. Before, you just want to slap all your strongest demons together on one team, buff them to the max, and just go to town. But now you might want to keep that Jack Frost just so you can cast a piercing ice attack that lowers the enemy's defenses to the minimum. Or maybe a healing skill that gives everyone luster candy. Some of these skills are extreme game changers in the right situation, which also leads into the difficulty of this game. While this game does feel like a step up from base 5's difficulty, it can also be just as easy to break, if not more so. While the passives and Magatsuhi skills are strong, unless you're willing to go the extra mile and squeeze the most you can out of these mechanics, you'll still find yourself with a more than decent challenge. In terms of story though, I wouldn't get my hopes up too high with this one. 5's story, or lack thereof, was one of the most criticized things about it. The new story canon of Vengeance I wouldn't call a complete upgrade of the original canon of creation, but it's more of a different take on what 5's story could have been. Certain characters get much more spotlight and fleshing out compared to their original incarnations, while others seemingly get the short end of the stick. It felt to me like if you wanted to see the whole picture, you need to experience both stories. The Kadishtu, while having amazing designs, didn't quite hit the level of intrigue as I'd initially expected. But Tao and Yoko tagging along for the majority of the game became something I didn't know I needed. These two can easily be boiled down to just the law and chaos reps of the game, but the two of them had plenty of moments where it felt like they could understand where the other was coming from. I liked the slight nuance of what could be seen as right in these situations, and it made me pause when making alignment choices within the game. Easily the best thing they fixed upon narrative-wise. Overall, I gotta give this game an I fucking loved it. Interacting and building up new teams of demons while listening to one of the most varied but fitting OSTs I've ever heard in a video game just leads to hours of fun. There are so many other things I haven't even touched upon, but in the effort to make this 10-minute video... September 10th, Persona 3 Reload: The Answer. The DLC that should have been included in the base game, but we won't talk about that. So, what I think of it? It exists? Well, I'll give it more credit than that. It was sort of a mixed bag of an experience for me. To start with the positives, the opening animation I found really gorgeous and possibly even better than Reload's original opening. All of the new music they included was really stellar actually. The battle theme of Don't, I've got to say, is one of my new favorites. Alongside the new renditions of The Abyss of Time, The Answer definitely has excelled in the music department. The new voice actors also killed their roles yet again. Many scenes felt even more heartfelt and impactful with their performances, and it was fun to hear all the new dialogue while dungeon crawling. I also love what they did with Metis. While it felt like she was always a forgotten member of SEAS, I think this slightly goofier and childish take of her character has made her a bit more memorable.
Exactly best friends, but do you really have to glare? Like it or not, we gotta work together to get out of this. You, me, Aigis, everyone.
I'm not glaring.
What?
You're right. I was glaring.
Where things become a bit more mundane, however, has to be the dungeon crawling. It's just Tartarus again without the social sim aspect to break up the long treks. If you loved it before, you'll love it here. And if you didn't, good luck. They made efforts to make the explorations more bearable, such as adding a compendium or giving new theurgies for Aigis to use. There are also mana doors that will help you fly through the floors if you're up for the challenge. But it'll still be a longish grind of getting through battle after battle just to see a cutscene and then doing it all over again. But hey, Joker's in it! For a rating, I'm giving The Answer a meh. It's okay. It's a tough sell if you weren't too keen on the combat aspect in the original, especially with a not so cheap price of $35. If you were head over heels in love with Reload, then I'd say go for it. You get to spend more time with the characters and get more insight into what happens after the ending. Otherwise, I'd say this could easily be a skip for most people. But what isn't a skip is Metaphor, baby! Come on now, let's go. Game of the year, am I right? I won't waste your time. This is easily the strongest game Atlus has made in years. It's brimming with personality, style, confidence. It's damn near perfect. I'm giving it 100 Basilios on the enjoyment meter. It's that good. For the game that has been in production for seemingly decades, Atlus has managed to make a title that doesn't break any particular mold, but excels in bringing their tried and true methods of game design to new heights. October 11th was the day Metaphor Refantasio dropped, and it still doesn't feel real to me that this game exists and I can play it right now if I wanted to. The premise of the game is we're competing in a race for the throne. This fantasy world has more than its fair share of problems, and with the current king being assassinated and all, the people need a new leader to set things right. And hopefully it's not gonna be this guy. With the future of the kingdom on the line, we set off on a cross-country road trip with our ragtag squad of nobles, knights, and anything in between. Already I was hooked with how quickly the game throws you into this world. The painterly aesthetic and oppressive orchestral score only further enhance the experience, tone, and setting. I loved exploring every inch of Grand Trad, Brylehaven. All the towns and cities were filled with life and interesting characters. And the characters, especially those with portraits, were fantastic in this game. I mean, come on, we got beautiful people like Brigitte, Katharina, Fabienne, Basilio. Looks aside though, the cast was extremely solid and had much more going on than I initially expected. Even after they're introduced formally in the story, none of the main cast ever just sits on the sidelines. Usually they'll have something to contribute to the narrative outside of their major moment they're given to start. It was nice to have a varied and present group and made the journey that much more exciting. Adding to that excitement was definitely the ever-present and seemingly diegetic soundtrack. We all know Shoji Meguro is the GOAT, and with these orchestral chanting tracks feeding into the fantasy setting, every moment was heightened. I especially loved the battle track that went like got me hyped every time. If there was one disappointment I had with the music though, it'd be there weren't enough tracks. Once you've heard the major 4 or so battle themes, although they are amazing, they are all you're really going to hear for the rest of the game. It would have been nice to have some variety. As for combat, Metaphor takes a slight twist. It's press turn. I don't think there's really a twist, it's just press turn. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. I'll admit, I was at first disappointed to find out there wouldn't be a new battle system. But they've taken the very best of SMT's combat and surprisingly Digital Devil Saga's combo skills of all things to give Metaphor an even faster pace to battle. Using certain archetypes together in battle unlock what are known as synthesis skills, powerful moves that, when used correctly, will completely demolish the enemy. The caveat being the number of press turns they consume will usually be 2 or more, and should you miss, then say goodbye to your entire turn. The most fun I had during battle was figuring out when and how to use these moves to get the absolute most out of my turns. Sometimes the risk wasn't worth the reward, but other times it would be just a thing I needed to get through a tough fight. Adding on to that, the archetype system was a pleasant surprise to puzzle through as well. Almost any learned skill can be passed on to any other archetype, forcing you to make use of all the tools at your disposal. Mixing and matching skills was always a highlight, and because no archetype has null or drain for their affinities, you can't just brute force your way through these fights by being invincible. Again, Metaphor doesn't really do anything that we haven't seen in an Atlus game before, but shifting around concepts like this ever so slightly makes the combat seem fresh. Oh yeah, they also had overworld action combat. Huh. I wonder where they got that idea from. It serves its purpose of becoming an effective way to transition to turn-based combat. I think there is a bit more refining they could do to make it more interesting, but otherwise, it's a great time saver for when you're in a hurry and don't want to engage in a real battle. And that's another thing I love about this game, it respects your time. You're never spending too much time with expository lore dumps. Characters will only tell you as much as you need to know, and the rest you'll have to seek out yourself. Whether it's talking to NPCs, reading, cooking, spending time with your followers, you will always get some sort of stat bonus or even magla should the bonus you receive be maxed out. No matter what you do, it will never be considered a waste of time by any stretch of the imagination. The more I played Metaphor ReFantazio, the more I realized this game is a love letter to Atlus as a whole, letting some of the most recognized names in the studio take the helm for a project, while meshing past game mechanics and concepts into something I would damn near call a masterpiece. The references to SMT, Persona, and Etrian Odyssey of all things? We'll get to you later, trust me. While they might seem like cheeky nods to other series, I view it as them acknowledging what's gotten them this far. These games have made an impact on people. They're what many people, including myself, have grown up on and keep coming back to. Over time, they've evolved, trying new ideas here and there, no matter how ridiculous or obscure they would sound. Regardless of what happens, they stick to their creative vision and tell stories in a way only they can. And I think that's why I have faith in Atlus when it comes to their future titles. They will always, above everything, be unabashedly themselves. And that's why you should buy Metaphor ReFantazio Reimagined when it comes out next year. It's gonna be great, I swear. As usual, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. This was supposed to come out like fucking 4 months ago, but you know, life happened. So thank you for being patient. I hope it's worth the wait. Going forward, I'm going to try making multiple videos at once so I can release things semi-regularly on this channel. Already I've got a little Etrian Odyssey video I'm going to drop next week, so if you're interested, look forward to that. As for the rest of the year, you can expect hopefully shorter little game reviews or retrospectives, and possibly even a challenge run compilation for a certain game. I won't say what, you'll have to find out. And of course, let me know in the comments which Atlus game was your favorite of 2024. Anyway, thank you again, and until next time, peace out. And subscribe.